Beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. I have a wonderful, very powerful story that I want to share with you today around manifestation, around the knowingness that we are all in a unified field of intelligence that very much so communicates with the energy that we're broadcasting. And I know you might have the idea of this in your head, and I want to share this story to just cement it even more. We are living in such a beautiful and intelligent, unified field of creation. And it's all you. It's you, experiencing you. So my intention with this story, stay till the end. This is going to be a very powerful video, I believe. And I think there's going to be a lot of other things that come through that are for you. My intention with this video is for you to begin engaging with life in a completely new way, in a way where you can prioritize your relaxation, where you can prioritize feeling good, because you know that those are the principles to work within to bring forth that which you desire, that which you want to create for yourself, so that you're not stuck in victimhood and letting past circumstances tell you how things are going to be, because that can seem so fucking real at times. If we've been on the same thought track and we've been in the same patterns of behavior for a long time, it might seem impossible to get out of that. And I'm here to tell you, as someone who had mind loops going on for many, many years, not only is it possible, it's our responsibility, and it's why we're here, to realize the creators that we are, to manipulate and play with these energies, to bring ourselves out of victimhood, out of the sludginess, the denseness of 3D reality, not allowing it to lull you to sleep and divide your attention and keep you as this disconnected consumer who feels like they're trapped by their circumstances and weighted down by their past. No. And I'm going to get to that later, but I want to start with this story. So in the very beginning of my, you could say, spiritually awakening days, I'm in that phase where I'm like the caterpillar. I'm just consuming all the information. I'm just learning as much as I can. It's very exciting, but it's also very dark, because I'm realizing the world around me is not what I ever believed it to be. And I found myself in a life that I did not want to be in. And all the walls had to come crumbling down around the structure that I had. That can be very unsettling, and it was multiple dark nights of the soul occurring all at once. And one of the things that I was doing is, on my commute to work, I would be on a train with all of these unhappy people just stuffed in there like sardines, adults acting like children, yelling at each other, "You stepped on my foot!" People, this is how the morning was every day going into the city. And I would have my headphones on, and every single day I would be listening to a man named Les Brown, who was by far and away my favorite motivational speaker. And at that point, I was listening to guys like him. I was listening to Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, guys like that, like getting myself pumped up, like trying to learn to create this energy within myself and get this inspiration to create the next thing, to get out of what I was in. And Les Brown just spoke to my soul. The stories that he would share, the Bible verses he would share, the way that he would say things like, "You have greatness in you." And he had this amazing orator kind of preacher quality to him. "You have greatness within you." And just the way he said it, I was like, yeah, I fucking do. I feel it. And he would sell out stadiums, and his message would just reach such deep places within me. And he got me through this incredibly dark period. And I listened to him every single day for years, for the most part. And I got a new job at one point, and I'm talking to my new manager, and we realized we both have a common love for Les Brown. And we vibed on that, and it was cool. And we would share videos back and forth of our favorite ones. And One day he comes over to my desk and he says, "Hey man, guess who's coming to Harvard to do a speech next month?" And we were right down the street from Harvard. And he's like, "Les Brown, and my friend is running this event, so he's going to be able to hook it up. You're going to be able to meet him. It's going to be amazing." And I just remember feeling so much excitement, because I had always said I would love to meet Les Brown one day, just to simply thank him for what he's contributed to me and the times that he helped me get through. And there was no weight behind it, right? It wasn't like I have to meet Les Brown, like, oh my God, and pedestaling him and making him this idol. I just saw him as a human who was able to stir things within me, and he had this ability to do that with people. And I simply just wanted to meet him in person one day and say thank you. Like, I received so much from you. And then my manager comes up and says this, and I'm like, wow, I'm gonna get my chance. And so a couple days after that, I did this event kind of on a whim at the Boston Commons, where it was eye gazing, which I had never done before. And so all these people showed up, and you get paired up with a random person, and they're guiding a little bit of it, but for the most part, you are looking into the eyes of another human being that you've never met before, and you're just maintaining that connection. And as a 25-year-old Boston guy who was not really about that stuff at that time, that was an edge for me. That was like, whoa. But by the end of that 3 minutes, it was such an incredible experience, and I'd never felt more connected to someone so deeply that I'd never met before, just by looking into their eyes for 3 minutes in a somewhat curated way. So we both have tears. We have a big hug after. We're talking for a few minutes, and I say to her, well, enjoy your journey. I'll probably never see you again. And we both kind of laugh. And the next week, by the way, just a side story, I go to a concert, tons of people, it's this huge venue, and I'm going up to get a drink, and she comes just strolling right by me, and we both catch eyes again, and we just laugh, because we realize like how this universe works with frequency and just like quantum entanglement and all these things. Anyways, so at this event, I meet this guy, and him and I become friends, and we just really vibed, and we went out together afterwards, got a beer, kept the dialogue going after the eye gazing event, and he was just a great dude, and we stayed in touch. I didn't really know. I knew that he had some kind of film company. He was into that stuff, but I didn't know much about him outside of that. So, anyways, fast forward to a month or two later, and my manager at work comes to me and he says, "Yo, man, I'm so sorry. My friend is not going to be able to get you a meet and greet. He's got all this stuff going on. Les isn't able to see people. He's going to kind of get out of there right away afterwards." And I just remember being like, that's okay. If I'm meant to meet him, I will. And I would love to, again, just say thank you to him. I don't need to meet him, but I would love to have that opportunity to say that. And so I go to the event, and it's the first one that his son is speaking at. So it's him and his son for the first time. So the energy was electric. Les comes out, and even at 70, he's just whoosh, like fully as I had remembered him from his videos and some of his earlier speeches. And he brought that fire, and I just had that like big smile on of like, yes, this is so cool to be getting this in person. And so it ends, and I look in the back, and they're doing testimonials for Les's son, because he's kind of up and coming, and they want people in the audience to record testimonials. I look in the back, and the guy that's doing the camera for that is this guy that I met at the eye gazing event. And I saw him, and I was like, whoa, hey man, like that's crazy that you're here. And we were both excited to see each other, and come to find out, he's the one that's putting together the videos for Leslie Jr. And I tell him about basically my crush on Les Brown and how much of an inspiration he was to me and blah, blah, blah. And he just looks at me and he goes, okay, I'm going to record a testimonial with you, and then I'm going to introduce you to Leslie, his son, and you're going to meet Les today. Like, we're making that happen. And I was like, what? Oh, okay. Whoa. I do the testimonial, and then Les's son comes up to me, gives me a handshake. Hey, I heard you're a big fan of my dad. Come with me. And he brings me down the hallway. We're chatting it up, and we go up these stairs. We go to this back room, and there's like all this food laid out. And Les is in there with his wife. And next thing I know, I have a plate of food. I'm sitting next to Les, having dinner with him, talking to him and his wife, and getting to tell him how grateful I was for everything that I've received from him. So it was like not just a meet and greet, but this like intimate dinner that the universe orchestrated and moved all these pieces around and made it all perfect for me to get there in this way. And I sat with him for like an hour, got pictures. It was amazing. And that story stayed with me for so long because it made me realize the amount of possibilities that are available to bring us the things that we desire. And I think one of the most important pieces of this is I never put pressure on it. It always just felt loose to me. But there was also this knowingness of like, I know I'm going to meet Les and get this opportunity to say thank you to him. And universe, God, source, whatever way you can make that happen, I'm open, but I know it's going to happen. And that's an intention that I have. And then I would let it go and not think about it. So even when my manager told me that I was going to be able to get this meet and greet and backstage and all this stuff, like I had this picture that I was going to, get a picture of them, shake hands, and that would be cool. But no, it went a big step further, and it was like, no, I'm going to line this up for you in a way that is so even beyond what you could have imagined, and you're going to have dinner with this guy. And that's what I've learned about the creation process of life, is that when you are in a sense of neediness or lack, you're out of the truth. You're discounting all of the incredible possibilities and crazy ways that things can line up to bring you what you're asking for. I think the problem that we really struggle with is letting go of what we're seeing in front of us. And especially if we're lacking money or we're in any sense of, survivalism, and all of the focus is kind of coming inward and we're thinking about like me, and we're tense. We're out of that state of receiving, and we forget our connection to all of creation. We forget that we are entangled with all things, and that life is simply reflecting who we are. Now, this can be a concept, and it was for me for a very long time. So I'm going to sit up for a second because I feel the thunder coming in on this one. This is so important. We live in a world, this reality is designed to hypnotize you. It is designed to keep you disconnected from your true nature, knowing your power, knowing that your focus and your attention is what manifests things. What you put your light of awareness on is what grows and gets created in your life. We are in the technology age, and things are designed to steal your attention. It's commoditized. The wealthiest corporations on the planet are all scheming to keep us as consumers that have divided attention. So you could make that a dark thing. You could say it's a dark agenda. To me, it just is what it is. And the game that we're playing is to do what you need to do to stay at the forefront of your consciousness, of these principles that I'm speaking of these truths that light us up. We are here to realize the creators that we are, to play with and manipulate this energy and to not get hypnotized by the outside world. Guys, this is everything that is mentioned in the Bible, which to me is a book talking about what happens within our consciousness. It is, as Bill Donahue says, one of the greatest cosmic psychological books of all time. All symbolic of our consciousness. So much of those stories in the Bible involve, like the Pharaoh, the oppressor that wants to keep you in line and in place and as a slave. And then as you escape and you part the Red Sea, which is basically you taking control of yourself again, which is you not letting yourself be conquered by the intrusive thoughts, by the temptation of the outer realm to steal your attention and grab hold of you. We are freeing ourselves of that. And there are so many traps out there that want to lull you back into this senseless, divided, consuming, apathetic, just person who doesn't think for themselves, person who is just a part of this system and just continues the rat race, keeps in the mind loops, and is never really a threat to it. So I look at this now as more of a fun challenge that we get to say yes to, right? In the morning, like, it is so important now, and it is so imperative that we set up our day in a way that maintains our focus and strengthens our attentional systems. This is what Buddhism talks about. It's so much to do with the mind, because they understood that the mind is the universe. And what we think about is what we get, right? And the way that we feel will come from the way that we think. And those things together create your informational field, and then boom, that's what you have. So for many of us, we spent so long in our lives asleep and at the whims of programs that were downloaded and installed from childhood, and ways that we were coping with the reality that we didn't understand, and just downloading things from our parents and seeing how life was done by them and the way that they thought about it, and then taking that on. So now we're in this place where we're getting to shed the skin of everything that is not us. And can you stay awake during that? Can you not get sucked into your phone? Can you wake up in the morning and open your eyes and not start to immediately cycle into all of the problems you have, all the things that aren't there, all the things that got to get done in the day? Can you just take a few breaths, invite in that gratitude, be in your body, and feel that God force, life energy pulsating inside of you as you remind yourself of who you are and what you're building and creating, and that you are in a blank new canvas for this day? Can you start your day off like that and prioritize that, so that you set the sail, you set the course for the charter for the rest of the day? You tell yourself what you're going to be focused on, the way that you want to feel, the way you want to show up to this day, so that you're not sucked into the routines again. And then you feel overwhelmed because you think you've been putting stuff off, and you start cycling back to the old thought loops that had you owned and dominated. That is the Pharaoh in the biblical stories. That is the Philistine armies. That is all of the things that it's Goliath, right? These things that could seem like a massive thing to overcome. I said this in one of my last videos as it pertained to darkness. I want to invite in whatever it is that is in front of you right now that has maybe beat you down, that has made you feel oppressed, that you've given your power away to by seeing it as an obstacle or a thing that is greater than you, that could only be done by the small self, because the real you would look at that and say, ha, this is fun. I get to unravel this right now. And I get to keep my attention on that truth rather than allowing and choosing, whether it's conscious or unconscious, to go back to what was. Can you start to tame the lion and say, this is where my attention goes, and I don't give a shit what my past tries to tell me. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm creating. This is who I choose to be. And as the Pharaoh, as the ego identity mind says, oh, you've tried to do that before. Oh, you've said that before. You didn't do anything. That part thinks it owns you. Those are the real chains that keep us in bondage. And I also want to bring in, this is not a fight. This is not a fight because the real you knows there never was a fight. To bring in this analogy again, do you think David in the story in the Bible, as he approached Goliath, he knew who he was? He was this little shepherd boy with a sack of stones going up against this giant that no one else wanted anything to do with because they were hypnotized by the material realm. They saw themselves as the little me meat suit. They didn't realize they are the divine in form, and they are here forever on an infinite journey. They didn't know who they were. David did. His consciousness was like, I know who I am. No obstacle has any power over me. And I'm going to take one of these little stones and I'm going to light up this giant in front of me. This giant that just represents the things that we've given our power away to, the things that we've made God, right? We have made God of our struggles, our doubt, our lack, our limitation. We have put our faith and trust in that instead of the truth, the wisdom, the knowingness of who we are, and that we are connected to all things. We have the divine within us. The kingdom has been given. It is bestowed. All of creation is here. It is done. And it is for us to recognize and claim and affirm the kingdom of heaven, which is already within. This is why they always talk about going to the right hand of the Father, getting to the right side, casting your net on the right side. Get to the right side of your brain, which is the imagination, the creativity, your direct connection and gift from God, from all that is, that emanates that, the womb of creation, all possibilities, instead of just being solely sucked into the logic where all of those things get thrown out the window and you're just in this rational place and you're in a linear framework where you are dictated by what you see in front of you with your senses, what's happened in the past. What you see is what you believe instead of what you believe is what you see, which is more true than any other truth. This is a crystallization of your past false programming that said, this is a solid world and you just got to figure this out and survive it. No, we're in the age of Aquarius. We are here to thrive. We are here to create something new. We are anchoring in our antennas, the celestial energy that's bringing in this cosmic new age, which is all about truth and unification. This is why there's so much division right now. So it's making it clear, like, okay, our inner masculine and feminine, the logic and the imagination, marry them together. Men and women as a gender come together. We have so much to teach each other. All the things that have been polarized, bring them together. And what is created from that unification is what is going to manifest this new period of the human story. So in the face of the giant tech companies that want to steal your attention and keep it glued to their platforms and want to keep you just buying stuff and cycling through your traumas, in the face of all of these seeming challenges, can you do whatever it is that you must do throughout the day to rewire your habits, to optimize you, to maintain your knowingness and your truth, to maintain your conviction of who you are, so that you get to that level of David consciousness. It's not an actual little boy shepherd named David that killed this big ass giant. No, it's representing a consciousness of I know who I am. I know myself as the I am. And when you know yourself as that beyond concept and it starts to land, there's nothing that can stop you. To the degree that you can keep yourself awake and these things at the forefront, nothing will stop you. What is it that you want to create? You put that on the table, and then when the doubt and the fear and the limitations and the what if and the hows, and when all that plops on the table next to it, you clear it off and you say, I don't need that for this creation. What I need is, this is what I prefer, this is what I would like to create, this is what I want to explore and bring to life, and that gets all of the attention and the focus. All of those other things, you start to learn to withdraw your attention from that Pharaoh. You stop making those things God. You stop energizing the doubt. As R.J. Spina says, you don't branch yourself off from the tree trunk and start losing your power by doubting. You don't become doubting Thomas. You become like Jesus, like Yeshua, knowing that you are the Son of all that is. As he was saying and trying to point out, which, wow, I thought today's day is pretty dense. I can't even imagine spreading the message that he was spreading back during those times. Like, that takes so much courage, and I have so much respect and admiration and love for someone like him that was able to shine a light that bright during a very dark time. And now here we are, where it's way less dense, but there's still a lot of people that are hypnotized and sleeping. And we are too. We go in and out of this. But to the degree we can keep ourselves awake, we offer the opportunity in the mirror for other people to also stay awake. You become that candle in the dark room that can light up an entire community, a city. Who knows what you're capable of when you stand in your full light and you start to say yes to your highest potential and realization, and you allow yourself to be an instrument and a conduit for life to flow through, and you invoke that every single day. What is possible? What could that look like? And gaining a sense of curiosity. What impact could be made? What could my life be if I just simply say yes to that, and I don't let myself get lulled back to sleep and hypnotized again by the seemingly outer world that isn't even real? It's you, it's us. This reality is here to help us with this game. It's designed for us to get out of those lower energies and not be trapped anymore and free ourselves. We have everything that we need. And you know that if you're watching this. You already know that. You keep choosing day after day, just like in the Matrix movies, as Agent Smith was beating the shit out of Neo, and Neo just keeps getting up, and Agent Smith would be like, why? Why do you get up, Neo? And Neo just gives him this super cool look, and he's like, because I choose to. And Agent Smith is like, oh shit. He gets it. He's remembering. And they start to get so terrified as he begins to know who he is. And he puts his hand up and all the bullets fall down, and they're like, oh shit. That ego identity mind does the same thing when we start to really take steps forward and claim what is ours. So I hope that Les Brown story lit you up. I feel like I was bringing in the spirit of Les Brown here, because that is been something for me that has always been so special. When I listened to him, I was like, that's what I want to give to people. I want to share a story, and I want to share energy with people that makes them feel empowered and inspired. And that was a huge reason why I loved to listen to a guy like that. I'm like, wow, he can do that to an entire stadium of people. That is so cool. I can't even imagine what that would feel like to receive that energy back and then to give out such a big energy. And I'm sure there's so many other people like me that receive something like that from him. And I'll use that line here. If you're watching this, take a breath. This isn't a tagline. This is the truth. You have greatness within you. The blessing has been poured out. It's all here. And it's your job to realize it. It's my job to realize it. It's our job to claim the kingdom of heaven and to anchor it here on the planet. And we do that through loving ourselves, kindness, compassion, bringing peace to internal conflict within yourself, and realizing and having fun and enjoying and relaxing into that you're here to create awesome stuff and live a good life and end the cycles of suffering and addiction that were handed to you through your DNA, from your parents, from ancestors. Many of us are the people in our family that are purging that out. What an epic role and courageous role to play. I love you all. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you soon.